except for those we have.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason.
And this is episode 22, where we talk about Deception Point, chapters 43 through 88 by Dan Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Popping off in this little section.
Finally.
So before we get going, make sure that this is the video that you actually are wanting to watch. We talk about everything as if you've read up to the point where we've read. So spoilers abound. You can check out our playlists where all of our other books are playlisted. If you intend to actually be in the first episode of Deception Point, you can back up and get caught up.
Yeah.
So
I've talked to a couple people who aren't quite to this episode yet, so if that's you, make sure you watch the first one first.
Yeah, make sure you're where you want to be. We don't want to ruin anything for you before you're ready.
Yeah.
So, okay, I loved this section of the reading.
Can we do one more announcement?
Oh, yeah.
Just in case you haven't seen, we're doing a live chat tonight at 5 o'clock Central for Tencent's Three Body, the show. We did a review of kind of our thoughts on the first episode, and we had a lot of fun with it. And we have finished episode 9 now. So we have probably about 5 or 6 more left to go. But so we're going to do a live chat tonight at 5 Central. And we hope for people to come and join us because we're really enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. It's nice to be able to keep the Three Body going.
Yeah. All right.
Such a good novel, which is playlisted for you also. If you haven't read Three Body Problem, we highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
And Hypno Bob says, looking forward to your Three Body stream later. I really enjoyed the discussions on the books. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're really glad you're here.
All right, there we go. My chat's working.
Okay. And there is quite a bit of a glare, but you know, sunny day problems. Yeah. We're happy to have that because it's been raining for forever.
Yeah, the live stream thing is new to us. So if you guys don't enjoy it, please let us know if we need to go back to like the regular videos. Yeah. But this lets us talk to people, and that's really cool.
Yeah, we love being able to chat with you. So.
All right. So are you still liking it?
Okay, so I like it better now than what I did in our first episode. And I think I've realized it's because I was reading that abridged version and that it wasn't bad, but it just kept things very simplified, very like this happened and this happened and this happened, that's in. So it felt kind of watered down, you know. And then this section of the reading, I only read the real version and it was so rich, and you know, I got caught up in it. I mean, I got so caught up in it I forgot to take any notes while I read, forgot to highlight anything, forgot to make any kind of notation. I mean, it was like watching a movie.
Yeah,
I was super into it. I liked all the characters better. And I found myself all wrapped up in Gabrielle's story too, and she's supposed to be the kind of the bad guy.
She's like she I don't know, like she is a victim, right? She is a victim of one of the bad guys being Sexton.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I agree, she is from our point of view like on the enemy's team, right?
Right.
Because he is the bad guy and because she follows him blindly, and that's a complicated place for a character to be. Because I think if she truly understood, she wouldn't be there, right? She's a bad guy by naivete and not by will, I suppose.
But she does know exactly what he stands for. She's pushed that agenda that makes us not want to like her, and she has chosen every step of the way. But her character is likable just because she's so bold. Like, bust up in an ass and see what's going on here. Like,
well, but. You know, she was going to abandon him when she thought that he was doing shady, like, campaign finance laws, which I'm not sure I would abandon somebody over. But, like...
Don't they all?
I don't government corruption is just kind of like the thing, right?
Violate that? Yeah.
But...
our standards are real.
Yeah. But she convinces herself, right? That he's not really, and that's the only reason why she's still there, so...
Yeah.
One thing I enjoyed about this reading is last week I said, you know, I think this, like, I'm enjoying the book, but I think this is kind of dumb. Like, they're going to find a meteorite and that's going to make some political crisis, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of stupid, right? Like, I'm enjoying it, but that's dumb. And then that whole balloon thing happened here. And I'm wrong, right? I'm just wrong.
I mean, these totally become political
it's
things. Like just these stupid news points.
It's, and like, it's, you know, and you know, I see, I like to read different websites. I never watch the news. I just read it, and they'll say things like, major crisis for Biden administration or whatever, and it's about the balloon, and then I can just, like, in my head, I was just replacing it with major crisis for the Biden administration, asteroid not real or whatever, or meteor, whatever it is, and that's just so funny to me. Because we'll turn mountains out of molehills for sure.
And Hypno Bob says, or UFO, right? Something just got shot down over Alaska.
Well, so that's what I told my mom that this morning. And she said, don't you like specialize in aliens now? She's talking about our 3-body videos. Yeah. We got to be careful taking things out of the sky. You never know, right? Yeah. We're gonna actually accidentally start a intergalactic war or something.
Oh man, Star Wars is gonna be real.
I don't need all that.
Peggy said that they just had snow today, and it finally got warm enough for it to snow. She loves playing in the snow. It's cute.
Cool.
Yeah, and that makes you a kid, like snow.
All right.
Okay, so when this section of the reading first starts, we stopped with Gabrielle in Tench's office. And I think my last comment on that was, why did she even go in there once she realized that it was Tench that had called her to the White House? She should have left right away. You don't entertain it. Don't listen to what she has to say. I mean, there's nothing good could come out of that meeting.
Well, I don't think Gabrielle is known for making good choices, right? So, like, this is kind of in character for her. Like, breaking into NASA is a felony, right? Like, it just is. So,
right. And so that whole story plot point, I mean, I was just, like, yelling at her through my imagination in the book. Like, girl, turn around, just get out, protect yourself. But, so there's that. So Tench is letting Gabrielle know we've got information on the senator taking illicit money from private space companies, whatever. We also have your scandal, pictures of that, and here's your little red envelope of those pictures, and we need your answer by 8 o'clock. And watching Gabrielle's whole crisis and like the way that she works through each piece of that information after she leaves, that was really good.
Yeah.
But I'm really concerned because she went straight to ABC to her friend Yolanda.
Right.
And left those...
Not a friend.
Left those pictures in her desk drawer. She does not currently have her own pictures, does she?
All I'm saying... No, she doesn't. All I'm saying is Gabrielle is not known for making good choices, right? You don't go... I don't know. When that whole thing happened, I was like, oh, you're going to be on the news, right? Like, I don't care what your friend's going to say whatever she needs to get you out of the bill, and she's going to rip that stuff out of her desk and hand it to somebody and be like, we got to run this.
I'm not saying that Yolanda is going to expose those photos, but somebody will have seen her put some red envelope in that drawer, and someone's going to lift that key off of Yolanda.
Right. You know, so one of the things too is so we have this mysterious bad guy who I think we're pretty sure now is Tench, right? Like, she is the one calling the shots with Delta Force and all that. Like, I'm pretty sure. I think it's a little too obvious.
So it makes me think it might not be Tench.
I think it's her.
I mean, that phone call happens after every interaction she has with someone else. Yeah. Okay, Rachel's a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Pickering is the problem.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's her. I think we're also maybe going to find out that it's really the president, like because he's kind of the guy over there that's like the nice guy. He's sort of a foil to Gabrielle, right? Like he's not like a buffoon or anything, but he's sort of like the nice innocent person, whereas Gabrielle is supposed to be that person. And then we have the Sexton and Tench who are kind of like their own mirrors here. But beyond all that, we still have a mystery person, and it's who is filming Sexton in his office and providing all this information. And maybe there isn't anyone. Maybe Tench is the one doing that. But we do potentially have this other mystery character who is trying to bring down Sexton and aid the president. Which right now the only person we know doing that is Tench. So I'm not really sure what's going on there.
And you know, the president told Administrator Ekstrom, "You've done a hell of a thing up there." And, you know, at face value, that sounds like, you know, handling this meteorite, doing the good work was the hell of a thing.
Yeah.
But it could also very much have meant the whole ploy.
Yeah.
And so the big question still is, why? If that meteorite is real, which it seems to be, why change its location?
Well, I mean, just for a political advantage, right? I mean, there was that whole plan. I think it was one of the Kennedys. But to bring down the like a plane that had nobody in it, claim it was full of passengers, so we could go to war with Cuba, right? Like we could just they were just going to do that. They were going to just shoot it out of the sky. That was a real thing, and it was to create this political crisis so we could do something, right? And so moving this asteroid around, like they needed a win, I guess. But the reason that they had to hide it is because it's not a meteor or asteroid or whatever. It's just a rock.
Yeah, you think so? You think it's not real?
So the last place that we leave.
The NASA folks, or the not NASA folks.
Yeah, what's her name?
Rachel.
Yeah, the last place we leave Rachel and crew is on the airplane, and they're talking about all this stuff. And you start finding like, oh, okay, well, like the nickel is outside normal ranges, so we have adapted the normal range, right? Like, oh, all right, that's kind of sketchy. And like if I really enjoy the exercise of ignoring everything you've been told. What is this? And so. But now I'm trying to figure out why is there no like residue in the crust, right? That's like really the mystery. And I think on like the next chapter we read, we're gonna find it because I think Rachel knows, and that's why she's asking questions.
Yeah.
There is something out there that can create heat that strong that won't leave fuel residue or whatever, and that chapter is tied into Delta Force flying on this like hypersonic plane back to.
They're trying to intercept, right?
Well, yeah, so they beat them by 2 hours to DC. Anyway, the point is, what if they take this rock and they stick it behind some advanced aircraft like that?
Oh, there was a whole chapter that talked about Roswell and advanced aircraft and how we're like 12 years behind on the
So that's my point, right? Like, what if there's something that can just like eat air and that's what the fuel is, or hydrogen, or whatever it's going to be?
Figured it out.
I'm not saying that I figured it out. Where's Greg Fox when I need him? But I think, but like those two things, I think we're being given hints.
Yeah.
And so, and at first I was like, well, maybe it's a nuclear blast, like you could do that. But they mentioned that there's no radiation on it, and there's really no way you can do a nuclear blast without radiation. So
you done did it. You done did it. Let's see. Anything else? Well, I'm jumping all over the place.
That's fine. I just spoiled the end of the book, I think.
One of the parts in that Trench and Gabrielle exchange that made me laugh, Gabrielle's reasoning for wanting to open up space travel to, privatize whatever, and Trench's counters on that, and Gab was like, well, we can just make a National Endowment of Space Science Research, and Trench says, we have that. It's called NASA.
Right.
Yeah. I was just a lolling.
That part really did.
Just a lolling. The senator was being real dramatic.
Always.
Like on his knees at the reporting of the meteorite. Yeah. Very Darth Vader.
The whole scene with so like in his hotel room or apartment or whatever, and when Gabrielle goes up there and the security guard is like, I don't know, he said nobody, and she's like, but for real, security guards don't work like that.
Yeah.
If you tell guards of any kind, no one comes in, I mean no one,
then that's just it.
Nobody goes in.
Just no one goes in.
That's how it works. And so you got bad security, right? Like that guy should be fired.
Yeah.
You
don't understand the situation.
Right.
The 3 words or 4 words that no security guard wants to hear.
Well, I mean, like he has people for that, right? And like Gabrielle, I guess, is his second. But in like the 3 or 4 hours that you can't find him, you are generally authorized to make some small decisions, and people are going to go with it because you know what your candidate wants, right? You know what your boss wants. I would have fired somebody for that, guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still kind of bothering me why Pickering didn't know about NASA's doings in that area. Like that whole thing went unknown to him, and that seems weird to me. There's also this connection about, after talking to Pickering, the voice called Delta and was like, we have another problem.
Right.
They told the name, and it was a name they all knew too well. So clearly Delta Force is like part of Pickering.
Well, so yes, I think. Well, I think they're being told to kill Pickering.
Yeah, I think
right.
so
Yeah,
too.
I agree. That's what I think is the obvious choice. I'm gonna have a backup choice. I'm gonna do that. Maybe Pickering calls and says to kill Tench.
Ooh.
So here's the other
Whoa.
thing. Because here's the deal, right? Like, what if Pickering? So this is my backup theory. What if Pickering sets this up by using his technology and digging around, because they mentioned that they were like laying cables on the ocean floor or something. He was involved in all these projects.
Mm-hmm.
They find this thing. He puts it in the ice so that
to make a scandal out of NASA because they screwed up and got his daughter killed.
Yeah. Now I don't think that's going to happen because we know that Pods was faked. And so, like, how would they have found it otherwise? And maybe they found it because they were, like, given information, like, hey, you should go look here or whatever. But, like, if the pods, if that information is true, then this backup theory is false, right? You cannot find this asteroid in the ice if Pods really is not working. So something's.
We have too many.
Yeah. Well, I think my bad guy is a little too obvious, and I want it to be a surprise. Right?
Yeah.
I really don't enjoy figuring it out, but I need it to be believable. But Pickering does not like NASA. He does not want them to have a win, so he does have motive here. And this book would be a little more interesting if we were being sold Pickering as an option, but I don't feel like we are, and so I'll be very excited.
And otherwise, why did they share all that backstory about, all this power and I couldn't save her? Why did we get his whole backstory?
Yeah.
So, definitely in there.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be a good bait and switch, right? For us to think that it was Marjorie, and it turns out to be Pickering. So, but I think right now it seems Marjorie.
Well, the person we least suspect is the president, so...
Might be the president.
There you go. I really was just wrapped up in that scene where Rachel and Nora, is that her name, and Corky and Mike go out on the ice, and they're tethered, they're shooting their flares. The flare disappears for a second. There's something out there on the ice, and just that whole scene of them getting attacked, them launching the Mylar, kind of like parachute thing, getting whisked away, getting beat up by the snow mounds and stuff. That I might have been late to work that day because I wouldn't stop reading.
Yeah. It was a long scene, and it was a good scene. It was very adventurous, and I'm glad they all generally survived, right? Like some of them didn't or whatever.
R.I.P.
The only problem I have with that scene is again, this is another thing that's just not believable, right? Somebody banging SOS on the ice, so a submarine shows up. That could be anybody, and if that works, you would just have all kinds of countries banging SOS on things in the ocean, hoping a submarine shows up to save you, and then they blow it up, right? Like, no submarine ever would show up to anywhere if they thought they were being called, right? The only way that they would do it is if there was a secret code, and it was that's an old code cert, but it checks out kind of thing.
Yeah, not SOS, but something else.
Yeah, that part I didn't buy that.
Like a code of numbers or something. But that was interesting, and I also really liked the scene with the aircraft coming to take them off the submarine real quick. That was all really cool. Yeah. Just fun movie stuff. Yeah. Even if it's not believable, it was in my mind. It was really, really cool. And I was very distracted that Simon & Schuster, or whoever publishes this book, spells axe AX. Because all my life it's been AXE.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that this morning. I didn't realize it was out of the book. I think I did. You might have told me. I don't know.
It also bothered me the whole time that they're getting whipped around by this Mylar parachute thing. I'm like, girl, you have an axe attached to you. Start whacking away. And it wasn't until she's getting the crap beat out of her and she keeps hearing, oh, my axe.
Yeah.
God. I mean, I guess when you're just getting this sense knocked out of you. Mm-hmm. But I knew it. Yeah. Get that axe, girl. Crazy. That was wild. Wild. And also when Delta was they're on the ice, they're dead anyway. No one's dead until they're dead.
Yeah, double tap. All day. Just gotta make sure.
I mean, we've just learned that from every movie ever.
Yeah. Well, so I think that's one of the... I have this theory that Americans in general would be decent at survival compared to some other countries because we've watched enough movies. Like we have actually, like we know a bunch of dumb stuff that's not real, right? But like, so if your plan is you're in the Arctic and you're like, well, I'm going to take this parachute flight in the ocean and a submarine will save me. That's a dumb idea. But all these different things, like what you're talking about, like we could do that, right? Like we know, like, hey, you should probably double tap. Another look, zombies and stuff, right?
No
Aliens,
one's
whatever.
dead until they are dead.
Yeah. I don't know where an alien's heart is. I'm gonna hit all of it.
You don't walk away and just assume you've left them for dead, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anyway. What else you got?
Those are kind of my big notes. Realistically, this was like a relatively long reading, but there weren't a lot of scenes, right? We finish up the scene that we started with Marjorie and Gabrielle. Then you have the whole ice scene, and then basically after the ice scene, you just have a travel scene for our friends, and then you've got like Gabrielle going to NASA you have like Gabrielle's journey but like for her, we're still in the same night. Like all of this is still going on in one day, and so really not all that much time has passed.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, like, is it gonna be bad news whenever our friends land and Delta Force is there waiting for them?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't even know what's gonna happen with all that.
I mean, like, that's murdering somebody on American soil, right? Like, that's an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Peggy says, "How do you know they won't regenerate?" That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Right? When Gabby went into NASA, that whole thing was cracking me up. I mean, she's like, it's now or never.
Yeah.
And she just goes for it. She's like, yeah, Jim, I left my car key. Tell the boys in accounting. I'm just like, oh, geez, I'm like sweating for her. And then, she goes in with that whole bluff to Harper and gets him to reveal that it was Administrator Ekstrom that made him lie.
Well, that's another one of those things is, so like that is, they say this is like an old FBI trick. And it works for the FBI and for other law enforcement because you're already screwed, right? Like, here you are, you've been brought in, so they tell you, we know this and we know this. You never admit it to, like, if somebody comes to you on like the down low, the deal is you play dumb, you just play dumb. Yeah. And you just keep going. I that was another thing I was just like, I don't know. And I really thought he was going to not bite. And he basically didn't until she walked away and then he was like, I'm going to tell you everything. Yeah. That guy just has anxiety, right? Uh-huh. She got lucky. This is not a skill she has. Right. So. Right. Whole scene is a little painful.
And because he's just a regular person, right? Like he's not a high government important person. He's just. Sure he is. Harper, not really. I mean, he's just a.
So I assume everybody who watches this is a normal person. If somebody accuses you of something, say nothing and get a lawyer.
Yeah, that's the rule.
So let's do it.
That's the rule. And so, okay, yeah, so I wonder what the extent of Ekstrom's involvement is.
I mean, that dude's deep in it, right? So like, the more I think about it.
Know that Ming was dead before the guys told him that he was dead?
No, I don't think so. And I'm not. I don't think so. Like, they discovered it, and he's like, "Oh, bummer," right?
And he's just hiding the information so it doesn't bring down the announcement.
Yeah, because he needs a win for NASA, right? And so he's involved in this plan with Marjorie or the president or whoever's doing it. Okay. But what's the guy's name? The little guy we were just talking about? Harper. Harper tells us that Ekstrom told him to lie, right? So, so now that I think about it, like, we know that Pods was faked. Somebody told him to go look there. And we also know that Ekstrom knows that Pickering hates him. Like, we have this little conversation there. So, like, I don't think Ekstrom would knowingly accept help from Pickering, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that looks suspect. So I'm going to take Pickering off the table as my option. He might be back there somewhere, because that's what he does.
Well, right? And sometimes lots of people have lots of motives and are involved and don't realize that everyone was kind of pushing for the same thing, just with their own motives. Yeah. But
Ekstrom, I mean, like, he's. I think it's. he is meant to be a bad guy, right? Because they only ever refer to him as the administrator, which sounds bad, right? Like that's not a good title. So the administrator, right? Like if like I could see that if that was the only way you did it and you referred to him as the administrator with a capital A, we were in like some, post-apocalyptic, this is not good. A dystopia, that's the word I'm looking for.
I don't know. I do keep expecting Professor Langdon to show up and set us all straight, save the day.
So it turns out that these are actually ancient Sumerian writings on this meteor.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he just needs to show up. I need Tom Hanks to come save the day.
Yeah.
That's what I need. Sure. That's what I need.
Hey, we need to announce our next book. Let's not forget to do that.
I was already thinking about it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we are. So as we finish up this last third of the book, we will hopefully start figuring out who's involved and who was, a red herring. And okay, so also, like, why did we get all that background on Mike? About his wife and
so that we care about him. Like, we have to be invested in him.
But that was a lot.
It was a lot. There's no reason for him to be...
We didn't get background on Corky.
Yeah, but I don't think we need... Like, he's comic relief, right? We're not supposed to be attached to him. We're supposed to be rooting for Mike and kind of like rooting for him and Gabrielle, him and Rachel together. They are our protagonists to a degree, right?
I don't know. That all seems weird.
He's Sam, right? Corky is Sam from Lord of the Rings.
Sam.
Yeah, that's all. I think here's my call for this reading. I think like very quickly Rachel is going to give us something that she knows about that could do this charring, right? And then what we're going to end up with is this like run around DC thing until they find somebody who can keep him safe. Probably the president, maybe Pickering if he's not dead. It's somebody who can call off
this Delta,
which is why I think it's going to be the president, right? They're going to have to go there and he's going to have to like get Marjorie arrested and like he trumps everybody, so he can call off Delta. And the shame of it is, and that's going to be the tension, right? He could let Delta do their thing, and he could have this political win, or he could save the daughter of his opponent and do the right thing, right? And there's going to be some tension there. That's my call.
He's usually right.
Just call like I see
it. All right.
You want to talk real quick about like our next book, and we can do a little video about it or something.
Sure.
We have chosen our next book, and it is Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. We're going to go back to sci-fi. We're very excited. I know nothing about this book.
Yeah.
So
it sounds devastating. Childhood's End.
It has a very like Ender's Game feel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
it sounds like it's going to be horrible. I've never read anything by Arthur C. Clarke before.
Really?
And I feel ashamed about that because he's like the guy for sci-fi.
I think I have, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
Yeah, you've got some stuff up there.
Yeah.
So, we're excited about that. So, we hope that you'll join us for that next one. But we'll post a separate video as well and just make sure everyone's on board.
Yep. Our syllabus will come out next week. Most likely, that's usually how we do it.
But this gives you a week to go ahead and get the book.
Yeah, you get prepared.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all very much. If you have any other comments, you can leave them in the comment section below.
Yeah.
If you do not enjoy this format and would like us just to go back to talking to ourselves and not talking to you guys, please let us know too. But I like this.
Yeah, we're really liking doing the live. We like being able to acknowledge you immediately and...
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and thank y'all so much.
Well, and it's more like a book club, right? Like,
yeah.
Like people could be having a conversation with themselves, without talking to us directly, and I like that option. So
yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody coming in and watching this morning.
Yeah,
so.
And anyone on the replay, we appreciate that too. So yeah, please let us know your thoughts. I love hearing what you do, like the speculation of like where's it going and how's it gonna tie in. We want to hear what you guys think about it too. Bob, we're ahead of you a little bit. I'm sorry if we spoiled anything. Hopefully it's still good for you.
I don't think it's necessary for people to guess like what's going to happen in books, and I actually have this theory that all of this comes from the show Lost, And like now we can't stop, right? But Lost kind of ruined us, where we had to try to figure out what the mystery was, and there was this whole culture, and that was like early internet days too. But there were like whole forums about trying to figure out what was going on with that show, and now it just never ends.
I've only seen one ever episode of Lost. I know nothing about it.
It was good. It ended predictably. but it changed directors like 6 or 7 times, so whatever. But
It sounds like a lot.
join us tonight at 5 Central if you want to be there for the discussion about
10 Cents 3 Body, 2 through 9.
We have got to get it done because we can't watch anymore if we don't do this.
I won't let them watch anymore because it's already too much. If we had tried to put out a video on like 2 through 4 and the video messed up and so we just can't watch any more of it because I can't hold all that information in my head. So, but we're loving it.
Yeah,
so.
if you haven't watched it, you should definitely check it out.
So good.
We will ruin nothing if you've read the book but have not watched the show. There are some differences, and we'll talk about that. But so wow.
Oh yeah, so episode 24. There's a lot. Tons more episodes.
We're on 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a year to watch this.
All right.
Oh, Peggy says this is good. I think she means our format is good.
Good. Well, if Peggy approves, then we're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn this off. Is it X?
It is the X. All right. Bye, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Adios.